The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Chen walked to the center platform, her boots echoing against the crystalline floor. Around her, representatives from 300 species watched with varying degrees of contempt, curiosity, and calculation. The holographic stars of the known galaxy rotated slowly above, each one marking a world that had bent knee to the Council's authority, all except one. "The Council has spoken," High Arbiter Velnosh announced, his quadruple vocal cords producing a sound that resonated through the chamber like distant thunder. The Velkari had led the Council for 3 millennia, and his word was law across 70% of the galaxy. "Humanity will cease all expansion beyond the Sol system. You will dismantle your colony ships. You will silence your broadcasts. You will become invisible or you will be made extinct." Ambassador Chen stood perfectly still, her face betraying nothing. Behind her, holographic evidence floated in the air. Images of human colonies on Mars, Europa, and Titan. Ships pushing toward Alpha Centauri. Radio signals beaming out into the cosmos with reckless abandon, advertising humanity's presence to anyone listening. "You are too loud," continued Velnosh. "Too chaotic. Too aggressive." 3 cycles ago, the Gentar species ignored similar warnings. They believed themselves exceptional. Now their homeworld is a monument to compliance. Empty cities preserved under stasis fields. A reminder to all who would defy council wisdom. The other delegates murmured their agreement. A symphony of clicks, whistles, and harmonic tones. Ambassador Chen finally spoke, her voice quiet but clear. "The Gentar were exterminated for building 2 colony ships and sending exploratory probes to neighboring systems. They were guided toward peaceful integration," Velnosh corrected. "They chose extinction." "I see." Chen clasped her hands behind her back. "And if humanity refuses?" The chamber erupted. Delegates rose from their seats, appendages waving in outrage. The Krishal ambassador's bioluminescence flashed angry crimson. The Thorian representative's tentacles writhed with agitation. Velnosh raised a primary manipulator and silence returned. "Then humanity will learn the same lesson. The Council maintains order. We have prevented galactic war for 6,000 years. Species like yours, young, impulsive, militaristic, threaten that peace. You must be contained or eliminated. These are the only options we offer." Ambassador Chen nodded slowly. "May I share humanity's response?" "You may." She tapped her wrist device. The holographic display shifted, showing Earth from orbit. Blue oceans, green continents, swirling white clouds. "This is our home. 4 billion years old. For most of that time, life struggled in oceans and crawled through mud. Then 200,000 years ago, humanity emerged. We discovered fire, agriculture, writing. We built civilizations that rose and fell like tides." The display accelerated, showing the march of human history. Pyramids, sailing ships, industrial revolution, world wars, atomic weapons, space stations. "We nearly destroyed ourselves a dozen times," Chen continued. "Nuclear weapons, climate collapse, artificial plagues. Each time we stood at the brink and chose to step back. Not because anyone forced us, not because some council ordered it, but because we decided our future was worth fighting for." "Your point?" Velnosh demanded. "My point," Chen said, her voice hardening, "is that humanity doesn't respond well to threats. You see a young species that needs guidance. We see jailers who've convinced themselves they're shepherds." She gestured and the display changed again. Now it showed something that made several delegates gasp. Human warships. Hundreds of them emerging from the darkness beyond Pluto. Each vessel was massive, bristling with weapons that had been theoretical just decades ago. Kinetic accelerators, antimatter torpedoes, quantum shift drives that could fold space itself. "You told us to be silent," Chen said. "You assumed we'd cower. You forgot to ask what humanity does when cornered." Velnosh rose from his throne, his massive form casting shadows across the chamber. "This is your answer, war? You would sacrifice your entire species for pride?" "Not pride," Chen replied. "Freedom. You see, Arbiter, humanity learned something during our bloodiest centuries. We learned that there are worse things than death, slavery, subjugation, losing the right to choose our own destiny. Our ancestors fought and died rather than accept chains. We won't dishonor their sacrifice now." "You cannot win," Velnosh stated flatly. "The Council commands fleets that outnumber yours 1,000 to 1. "Probably." Chen smiled, and it wasn't a pleasant expression. But here's what you don't understand about humanity. We don't need to win. We just need to make you bleed. Every ship you send against us will destroy 10 more. Every world you take will poison. Every victory will cost you so dearly that your other subjects will start wondering, if the Council can't handle one young species, why are we following their orders? The chamber descended into chaos. Delegates shouted in dozens of languages demanding humanity's immediate destruction. Others called for negotiation, fearing the destabilization Chen described. Through it all, Velnosh stared at the human ambassador, his ancient eyes calculating. Finally he spoke again, his voice cutting through the noise. You would condemn billions to death rather than accept peace? You call it peace, Chen countered. We call it a cage. And no, Arbiter. We won't condemn billions, you will. You'll have to decide if maintaining your authority is worth the cost. Because humanity isn't going to stop exploring. We're not going to stop growing. We're not going to silence our voices just because you find them inconvenient. She turned, addressing the entire council now. We came to the stars because we're curious, because we dream, because we look at the horizon and ask what's beyond it. You can try to crush that spirit, but it won't be clean. It won't be quick. And when it's over, every species in this chamber will remember that humanity chose to burn rather than kneel. You're insane, the Krishal ambassador breathed. Maybe, Chen agreed. But we're free. Can you say the same? Velnosh settled back onto his throne, silent for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice carried a note of something that might have been respect or perhaps just exhaustion. The Council will reconsider humanity's petition for autonomous expansion. We will reconvene in one cycle. Ambassador Chen bowed, the gesture somehow mocking. We'll be waiting, loudly. As she walked from the chamber, the holographic display behind her showed those warships again, hovering at the edge of Council space. Not attacking, not retreating, just waiting like thunder on the horizon, a promise of storms to come. The Council had ordered silence. Humanity had answered with the roar of engines, the whisper of weapons charging, and the unmistakable declaration that some species would rather face extinction than abandon their right to make noise among the stars.